When was the last time you actually celebrated a financial win? And I don't mean posting on your social media about how you paid off your debt or hit a savings goal. I mean really took time out of your busy schedule to celebrate what you've accomplished, taking time to acknowledge how far you've come. If you're like most high achievers, the answer is probably never. A lot of us fail to take the time to celebrate what we've accomplished and what we've achieved before moving on to the next big goal. But today we're going to change that. I'm going to walk you through a quarterly review today. And this quarterly review is unlike any others because it's going to be specifically focused on seeing what you've accomplished up until this point and taking time out of your life to celebrate it. It's going to help you see the wins that you've been ignoring and realize that celebrating them is key to your wealth building strategy. If you're new here, I'm Julie, a former Wall Street investment banker turned finance coach, and I am here to help you take sustained actions to become financially free. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to go through your financial year so far and identify every single win that you've achieved, even the ones that don't really feel like wins yet. Most of us are so focused on what we haven't done or what we're going to do next that we fail to take time to focus on and celebrate what we've already accomplished. This is true for most aspects of our lives, and especially in our financial lives. But the thing is, that is not good for you. It's not great for your mental health, and therefore, it's not very good for your wealth building. When you don't see and acknowledge your progress, you tend to lose motivation. When you lose motivation, you stop taking action. And when you stop taking sustained actions, your money and your wealth goals stay stuck. So this is not some woo-woo gratitude exercise just to make you feel good. This is a strategic exercise that I recommend you doing on a quarterly basis to keep you motivated, positive, and moving forward in your wealth building journey. First, let's talk a little bit about why this is so difficult for a lot of us. You hit a goal, and instead of celebrating and acknowledging how far you've come, you think, oh, okay, I did it, I finally accomplished it, but I should have never been in this situation to begin with. Or maybe you think, I should have done this sooner, I'm so behind. Or maybe you think, my goal is not that impressive compared to so-and-so next door. You're constantly thinking about yourself in comparison to other people, or thinking about what you want to achieve in the future and how long the way you still have to go. I see this with my clients all the time. They finally pay off their first big debt, and instead of saying, wow, I achieved it, I paid off that $10,000, they think, oh yeah, I paid off the $10,000, but I still have $20,000 more to go. They're always looking at the road ahead instead of acknowledging that there's a road ahead, but taking time to celebrate, wow, I'm a third of the way there. This is huge. This is what a lot of us tend to do, especially those of us that are high achievers. The goalpost is constantly moving. Research shows that people who acknowledge their progress are more likely to continue making progress moving forward. Small wins create momentum, and momentum helps to create consistency. And when it comes to your finances, consistency creates wealth. So when you skip out on celebrating your wins, you're not just being hard on yourself. You're actually making it harder to build long-term wealth. All right, so let's do your quarterly gratitude review together. Take a minute and pause this video, and I want you to grab a notebook or open up a brand new spreadsheet or Word document, whatever works best for you. We're going to go through 4 categories of financial wins. And I want you to write down everything that comes to mind for each of them, even if the win feels small. If it's something that you achieved or accomplished, write it down. First, I want you to think about all the money that you saved or earned this past quarter, or if you've never done this before, this past year. I want you to think about any increase in your emergency fund, no matter how small, any debt that you've managed to pay off, even if it's not completely gone yet, any raise, bonus, or income increase of any sort, any side income or extra money that you've brought in, any month where you've spent less than you've earned, any bill or interest rate that you've managed to negotiate down, and any subscriptions that were quietly eating your wealth that you've canceled. Write down everything. Don't judge it. Don't say it's too small. Just acknowledge it and write it down. For me this year, I switched my phone company to my previous provider to my new provider. In making this switch, I not only got a free brand new latest iPhone, but I'm also saving approximately $50 a month on my phone bill. So when I'm thinking about my financial wins, this is something that I would write down. Think about your own situation. What are some examples just like this that you've achieved or accomplished this year? Next, write down all of your changed financial behaviors. And what do I mean by this? Changing your behavior is more difficult than hitting a specific number or paying off a specific amount of debt. Changed financial behaviors take effort, consistency, and time. But the thing is, because they're less tangible and they're less likely to be attached to a specific number, a lot of us fail to celebrate these the most. So this is why it's really important to also write down the behaviors that have changed for you from a financial respect. I want you to think about any new money habit that you've started, even if you're not perfect at it yet. Any instances where you chose long-term wealth or your long-term financial future over immediate or instant gratification. Any money conversations that you've had that you would have avoided before. Any financial decisions that you've done your research on instead of just winging it. Any boundaries that you've set for yourself around money and finances. And any time you've taken money and invested it instead of just stashing it in a savings account that wasn't earning you the interest that you deserve. For example, maybe you started tracking your spending for the first time this year. Or maybe you opened up a high yield savings account and moved your money out of the savings account attached to your checking and into the high yield savings account to earn yourself more interest. Or maybe you had that tough money conversation with your partner and you guys ended up being amicable instead of having it turn into an argument. These are massive money wins that might not show up as a number in your bank account, but still very much deserve celebrating. Next, I want you to take note of all of the financial knowledge that you've gained this year. What did you learn about money this year that you didn't know in January? Maybe you finally understand how a Roth IRA works and what makes it different than a traditional IRA. Maybe you learned about the debt avalanche versus the debt snowball methods. Or maybe you figured out your effective tax rate. Maybe you've leveled up your 401k investments and finally understand where your money is going. Knowledge is wealth, and when it comes to financial knowledge, I literally mean knowledge is wealth. The more you understand how money works, the better money decisions you can make. And the better money decisions you make, the more wealth you're able to build. So if you've learned anything about money and finances this year, it's a win. So write it down. The final money category that we're going to celebrate is your reduced money anxiety. This one is super subtle and it very much goes overlooked. But in my opinion, it's probably one of the most important things to celebrate. In this category, I want you to think about any financial worries that you have that were overwhelming in January and they're a little bit more manageable now. Any money tasks that were overwhelming a month or a year ago that now feel simple and manageable. Any accounts that used to make you sick looking at them that now feel a little bit less anxiety inducing. And finally, any money conversations that you have had or are planning to have that doesn't want to make you shut down or run away. For a lot of my clients, the biggest financial win for them is not achieving a specific number, but rather it's the ability to look at their bank account and not feel overwhelmed or sick, or being able to have a productive money conversation with their spouse without shutting down or it ending in a fight. Being able to talk about money without shame and waking up in the morning and not immediately worrying about your finances are huge aspects of the personal financial journey that often go untalked about and overlooked, but they're usually some of the most important. Achieving any and all of these things are all wins. They're all progress in your money and wealth building journey. So please write them down and let's celebrate them together. Take a second and go back through this list. Go back through these 4 categories. Really take the time to reflect and write down specific examples of how you've achieved something in each of these categories. Even if it's small, don't sell yourself short. So by this point, you should have your list of wins. Hopefully you have at least a couple examples for each category. Some of them are probably big, some are small, and I'm sure there's a couple that probably surprised you. When you can see your progress clearly, you build what psychologists call self-efficacy. What does that mean? It's just a fancy way of saying you can start believing that you're capable of achieving your goals. Most people don't struggle with money because they don't know what to do. For a lot of people, they struggle because they don't believe they can actually do it. Maybe you've tried before and failed, or maybe you've set goals and didn't reach them. When that happens, you build this narrative in your mind that you're just not good with money. When you take the time to see that you did accomplish these small financial wins, it gives you tangible evidence that you are making progress. You begin to actually see yourself as someone who makes good financial decisions, as someone who is making progress toward the things that's important to them. That small identity shift is what creates lasting change. I've been lucky enough to see this transformation with some of my clients. They come to me convinced that they're a financial mess. But when we do this exercise, they realize they have made progress and they're more capable than they think. It's likely that you're not a mess and you are more capable than you think. But since you're not tracking, measuring, and celebrating the progress that you're making, it's going unnoticed. You're not a mess. You're just not paying attention to what matters. The other reason that doing this quarterly check-in works, it helps you to identify it so you can do more of it. Maybe through this exercise, you realize that the automations that you've set up are some of the major things that are allowing you to make consistent progress. Or maybe you're realizing that thinking about your finances on a weekly basis instead of a monthly basis is really your key to success. When you review your financial wins, it's not just about patting yourself on the back. It's also about gathering data for what works for you specifically, and then doing more of that. And that is how you optimize your wealth building strategy moving forward. Okay, so I said in the beginning of this video that tracking these milestones and this progress is all about being grateful for how far you've come and celebrating it. So let's talk a little bit about how to celebrate. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of people fail to celebrate the progress they've actually made. But there is a small subset of the population that over celebrates and ends up sabotaging their financial progress in the process. So let me give you some ways to celebrate your financial progress without sabotaging that progress or backtracking. One super easy and free thing to do is to create a progress tracker. This can be a note in your phone, a spreadsheet, or even a colorful little diagram that you hang up on your refrigerator or on your wall. Personally, I have a net worth tracker that I update on a monthly basis, and seeing the line trend upward over time keeps me motivated and reminds me what I'm working towards. Another thing you can do is share your progress with someone who will appreciate it. Obviously, not everyone needs to know your financial business, but having one or two people that you can depend on to celebrate those small financial wins that you can text and say, hey, I finally paid off my car. I'm so excited. It really does make a huge difference. When you share your progress and your goals with someone else, it also helps to keep you accountable. Research shows that when you tell other people about your goals, it holds you accountable and makes you more likely to achieve them. Another thing you can do to celebrate is do something very intentional to celebrate each financial win. And this doesn't have to be something that costs you any money. When your debt is finally paid off, maybe you start treating yourself to a coffee. Or maybe it's taking a day off to stop thinking about money and just do whatever you'd like to do instead. Or maybe you're working with your partner to help pay off your debt. Every time you guys achieve a predetermined milestone, go out for a date night. These are just small examples to take a pause, acknowledge how far you've come, and celebrate it. The point here is not to go out and spend a bunch of money. It's to mark the moment. It's an opportunity to say, this goal mattered and I'm acknowledging it. Another thing you could do is to write a letter to your future self. And I know this sounds a little cheesy, but hear me out. Write a letter to your future self about what you've accomplished and how it felt. Mail it to yourself for future view, or put it somewhere that you'll come across it later. A few weeks or months from now, when you're working toward your next financial goal and you're feeling discouraged, maybe you'll come across that letter, or intentionally take that letter out and read it. Remind yourself how good it felt to work towards something and then accomplish it. Doing this can help you remind yourself that you've made progress before. You've done hard things before. And even though it might not be easy at the time when you're going through it, reading this letter to yourself will help remind you how good it's going to feel when you accomplish it. The point here is celebrating your wins doesn't have to be lavish or expensive or backtrack your next financial goal. It just needs to be something that's intentional and that helps you mark the moment so that you don't lose motivation along the way. Take that 15 or 20 minutes and actually write down all of your financial wins from this past quarter or this past year. Think about each category individually and try to write down at least a couple of wins from each one. I promise you, you're going to have a lot more wins than you probably think. Then choose a way that you're going to celebrate your progress. Even if it's silly or small, make it special and take the time to mark this moment. Mark the progress that you've already made before focusing on your goals for next year. Then I want you to make this a quarterly habit. Put a reminder in your calendar to do this every 3 months or so. Take the time to review your progress and acknowledge what's working and adjust things moving forward to help you find more success. This is how you build wealth sustainably. You take small, consistent baby steps over time, and you do things like this, celebrating your wins and being grateful for the progress you've made. It's not about constantly focusing on the next goal ahead. You also have to take the time to look back to see how far you've come. When you acknowledge how far you've come, it helps you build momentum, trust the process, and trust yourself. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and share it with someone else who you think may benefit from it. If you're not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing to my channel for more videos just like this. Also, if you want to share, please drop a comment and let us know one financial win that you've accomplished this year. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.